guys, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the NECA Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TRICERATON ZOG. This guy was first available during the Target Haulathon. I never found one, and I never got a review sample, so I had to wait. They are available at Big Bad Toy Store now. There's a link in the description below. That's where I bought mine, and now we have it to review. It's a pretty cool looking figure. It's not, as you might guess, the most articulated thing in the world, but it's got some good qualities to it too. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Now, before we get into the figure, I've been asked to look at the packaging for these guys because the artwork is pretty darn cool. So the front of the package, it doesn't have a flap or anything. It's just your standard box. So you have that on the front. Whoops. You have that on the side. Photos of the figure on the back with the other figures in the way, which I have reviewed. And then you get that on the other side. Top is relatively uninteresting, the bottom even less. Okay, so now you know what the package looks like. Let's go ahead and dive into this guy. He stands, I'm gonna just go to the top of the shield part of his head, about 7 3/4 inches, maybe a little bit more. That's gonna be just about, well, we'll call it 20 centimeters. Here he is up against Darwin. So he doesn't have the most height in the world. He's got some, but he's definitely got some bulk. And then here he is, let me adjust this so you can see a little bit better. Here he is up against one of the Raphaels from that Raphael 4-pack we looked at. So definitely a decent size. He's not huge. I think that's accurate. And so I'm happy with that. All right, let's go ahead and do a quick question of the day. How into the comic figures are you guys? Because for me, I never read the Turtle comics, but I love the artwork. Like a lot. I grew up on the cartoon. I love the live action movie, the original one. But I really, really like the comic artwork and the comic grittiness. And so I'm very much into the comic figures, more so than anything maybe other than the movie figures. Though the comic figures do have a certain shelf appeal that the movie figures simply can't have because they're more realistic. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the aesthetic on this guy. He is very saturated in the dark purple. It is lovely. We have some torn parts that are a lighter purple. You'll see around the knees, over here on the arm, a couple other spots here and there. Not a whole lot going on there other than the black line work, which is hard to notice, but it is in there and it is really nicely done. Look at the side of the pants. They did a whole lot of black paint work on this guy to make it very comic-y, which I do think that Foot Ninja we looked at the other day was lacking. See the black line work on the brown pouches, that looks nice. They did paint the skin in orange. It's a little bit too bright, and it's not in all of the spots though. There's a spot up here they didn't paint, and then there's a few other ones throughout where they just didn't bother with the orange. So that's a little bit of a bummer. The orange is painted, and then it does have a wash, and I think it's just the wash with, and then of course the heavy black line work. Hard to say for sure, but that's what it looks like. Have some decent paint work there for that triangle logo. Same thing on his chest. Very, very nicely done. And then the same thing over here on the side. Very clean. Now for the face, they did a good job with the horns for sure. Nice and clean. I think the eyes could have been a little bit better. The red's not as well placed as I would have liked. And then of course the black around it could be a little bit cleaner as well. It's not terrible. And of course you could touch that up very easily with a little bit of black paint just to make the eyes pop a little more. But still, it's pretty good. And overall, it's got a very nice aesthetic. I like the sculpt, and the paint job is definitely enough to carry it. So I'm going to give this guy an aesthetic rating of, I'm going to do 8 out of 10. And it's only going to get an 8 because of the mismatched oranges for the painted areas. Like even on the legs, they're a little bit lighter. But these little spots definitely are too bright. And then there are just too many spots that are missing. There's one right there, even right next to that one that's missing. So I don't like that too much. But otherwise, it is nice. It's a wonderful sculpt. And it's a really good paint job. It's just not as good as we have seen from NECA. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the accessories. This is for hands. With the 2 open hands that come on in the package, you get 2 fist hands, 2 gripping hands, and then 2 other gripping/style pose hands. You get 3 different grenades, which I guess he can just hold. That's fine, I guess. You get a knife, and then you get the gun. Now, the hands are very stiff plastic. You will want to dunk them in some fairly hot water, not boiling, or heat them up with a hairdryer to get them on those accessories safely. But that's a decent spread of accessories. I think that's fine. He did come with a big carrot in the package, but I just stuck it back here in this hole, and it looks enough like a tail. So, yeah, he does come with that big weird carrot. But otherwise, that's it. So, accessory-wise, I'm going to go 9 out of 10. I don't think he really needs anything else. That seems appropriate. you know, maybe a blast effect or something. So there's a little bit room, but that's pretty good. All right, now as far as articulation goes, there are a few things on this guy which are pretty exceptional considering the bulk, and then a few things that aren't so great. The head, double ball peg. He can look up really far. He can look down, not all that far because obviously he has a chest, but it's actually not bumping into the chest, so he could get a little bit better range if they tweak that a little bit, but it leans side to side. These are very pointy, by the way, be careful. Obviously it rotates. It moves around pretty well. Considering the amount of plastic that's there, I think it's perfectly acceptable. The mouth is very nicely articulated. You can open the mouth pretty far, and there's paintwork throughout. Very clean, very nice. And bonus is the tongue is articulated, so if you really want to have him yell, you can get that tongue up in the air, and it'll look even better. So that's pretty cool. I like that. For the shoulders, you have your standard rotation here. The arms are quite loose in all of the joints. It's a little bit strange, but you do get your rotation all the way around. Hinge goes up that far, so just shy of horizontal. Bicep swivel is fine. Single jointed elbow, very loose, just shy of 90 degrees. You get another rotation down there. Just be careful you don't grind the purple against the orange. You may lose paint out of the joints. Obviously, you cannot paint those types of joints. Those are most likely nylon. Nylon doesn't hold paint. NECA sprays the whole thing, and if it chips off, it chips off. But that's normal. That's okay. All right, so you do technically get rotation out of that forearm, but not practically speaking. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. None of the wrists have a vertical hinge. So, am I wrong? No. All of the wrists have a horizontal hinge, so even the blade holding hand, not going to be as good as it could be. Now, this is really nice. The torso is on a big old ball peg, and he just goes to town. He can get into whatever pose you want. He is ready for action there, so I like that. The hips, classic ball sockets. Not too loose, not too tight. I like it. You can get them out to almost the splits. That was surprising when I first saw that, so pretty good range there. Looks like they did lube the joints a little bit, so shouldn't have too many problems with that. Let's see, it is slip sticking a little bit, but that might get better as you use it. I just got this guy, so we'll see. Not going to get the leg up too far going forward, unfortunately, but it's, you know, probably enough for somebody as chunky as this. It does go back decent amount, I would say. Thigh swivel is built in there. The lower leg does rotate where it connects just like the elbow does, but you do get your hinge, which is not very much. His legs are really not made for doing much. And then for the ankles, you would think that the orange part would swivel inside the pant. I couldn't get it to go. Maybe you can if you heat it up and try really hard. It should. I would imagine that they did set that up, but I can't say 100%. But then the ankle hinge, mine are both very tight, but they do work. And they don't have a ton of range. They just have enough. Basically, you're going to get this guy standing, you can pose his arms a little bit, and that's it. He's really just for the shelf appeal. You do get an ankle rocker, which is actually pretty good. They did a decent job with that, so that's cool. Lastly, the tail is bendy. It bends pretty well, as you can see, and it does have the hinge and, of course, the peg where it connects. So you'll be able to use it some, but not too much. And the way they keep doing the hinge, if you're using it as a third leg to tripod stand him, it could end up hinging and letting him fall back. But articulation's acceptable, I think, for the size. Don't care for the loose joints, so that's a problem. I'm going to say he's only going to get a 5 out of 10 for articulation. The torso's great, the head's good, mouth is good. There are good things, but you're not going to be able to pose him very much. Is it excusable? Sure, I think so, but it still is poorly articulated, so we're going to leave it at a 5. That's still fair. It's just reasonable for a figure like this. Okay, so now it's time for the final verdict. I think this guy is all about shelf appeal, which is what most of the NECA turtles are for. Yes, some of them have really good articulation, some of them have very bad articulation, but they all look freaking great. And this is no different. This guy looks wonderful. You're not going to have another figure like him on the shelf, that's for sure. He looks really, really cool, and he does come with a decent spread of accessories, so I'm going to give him an overall rating of 8 out of 10. If you're looking for dynamic poses, this might not be the figure for you. If you're looking for anything else you can get out of an action figure, I'd say give it a shot. If you like the way it looks, go ahead and pick one up. They are available at Big Bad Toy Store. There is a link in the description below. And there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs... Oh, I wanted to mention the different finish. The purple is a nice satin finish as opposed to the skin being somewhere closer to matte. It just looks really nice. The one downside is, though, the black paint in some places is slightly shinier than the purple, but the matte finish on the purple is gorgeous. It looks really, really good on a shelf. Okay, so I don't know where I was, so thanks for watching. Keep collecting. Oh, no, don't say that. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, smash the thumbs up, do all the things, and in the meantime, keep collecting.